Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally that girl in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make spiced roasted cauliflower florets. They are so delicious. The truth is that every time I make them, I think back to my childhood and I say to myself, if my parents would have exposed me to cauliflower like this one, I probably would have become a cauliflower fan much earlier in life. But as a child, I only ate cauliflower as a side, sometimes when they gave it to you in a restaurant, and it was usually just steamed or boiled. Super not fun, super bland, and definitely not delicious. But the way I'm going to prepare it today really elevates the flavor of the cauliflower, and those spices are such a treat. And I'm going to give you the option to make it just a touch spicy or to just keep it savory with those delicious warm spices. So that's really up to you. So I'm super excited to teach you how to make it. Let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 2 heads of cauliflower, 2 teaspoons of pink Himalayan salt, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 3 tablespoons of sugar, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which is completely optional. You're only going to add it if you don't mind a touch of spice. And finally, 3/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil. You will also need a cutting board and a knife, a large bowl and a large spoon, a wet measuring cup, some parchment paper, some measuring spoons, and a sheet pan or jelly roll pan. And lastly, you will need some oven mitts. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven to 450 degrees, making sure we have a rack placed in the center of the oven. This recipe comes together real quick, so we want our oven nice and hot. The next thing you want to do is you want to take care of peeling off those outer leaves from your cauliflower, and then you're going to remove the stem, and then you're going to break off the cauliflower florets. You can use your knife to remove your stem and your leaves, but I like to use my hands to just break up the cauliflower florets. Of course, you can use a knife too, that's up to you. And if you break any off and they're really large, then of course you can use your knife and just slice them down the middle and make them a little bit smaller. You do want to have some nice sized florets, but you don't want them to be huge. And I actually like to have a variety of sizes. I like some to be a little bit smaller, some a little bit larger. I just love the contrast in sizes. It just gives my cauliflower a really nice texture as it roasts. And I'm just going through both my heads of cauliflower to see if I've left any too large, any of these florets. And yes, this one I feel was a bit too large, so I'm just breaking it. Like I said, you can cut it with your knife or you can just tear them apart with your hands. And then now I have some nicely sized florets. I think they look perfect and they are ready for roasting. You don't want them to be too small, but it's okay if you have a few of your florets that are a little smaller, because like I said, it gives it some contrast and texture and it's just perfect. So these look great. So I'm going to push them aside for a moment and I'm going to bring over my large bowl and my spoon. And then I'm going to put together this beautiful marinade that I'm going to put over my cauliflower. So I'm adding first my extra virgin olive oil, and then right into this bowl, I'm going to add my spices. I'm adding my pink Himalayan salt. Of course, you can use regular salt too, that's fine. And then right into that, I'm adding my coarsely ground black pepper. And now I'm going to add my sugar. So this really helps caramelize these cauliflower florets. And now I'm going to be adding my onion powder for flavor. And of course, also my garlic powder. And then I am going to add my paprika, which my paprika along with the turmeric is really going to develop a nice color for these florets. And then now, of course, my turmeric, which really makes these florets look gorgeous. And finally, I'm going to add my cayenne pepper, which of course is completely optional. It's just a little bit. And for 2 heads of cauliflower, it's really not going to make them very spicy, but of course it's totally up to you. And you can add more if you like it really spicy. So I'm going to be using my spoon, not my hands, because normally I love to toss things with my hands. I just love how things come together and get perfectly coated when I use my hands. But for this recipe, if you are going to use your hands, I really suggest you use some food safe gloves, because you will definitely dye your hands yellow. Turmeric has a real big tendency to leave a stain, so you don't want your nails and your fingertips getting really yellow. So for this recipe, I suggest you either do this in a bowl, or I've even done it in a really large Ziploc type bag, and this way you can toss your florets without getting your fingers all stained. So once you've brought all of the spices together with the olive oil and that touch of sugar, we're going to add our cauliflower, and then we are going to coat our cauliflower completely in this delicious blend of olive oil and spices, and it is going to really do something spectacular to these cauliflower florets. So once you get them all into your bowl, then you're just going to use your spoon and you're going to toss the florets until you get them all coated in this delicious olive oil and spice mixture, because you want to make sure that all of the florets get the love that they are going to receive from these incredible warm spices, and they just develop this beautiful color as you coat them. And of course, that color is only going to become more accentuated when you roast them. So really, this step is super important. You just want to make sure you coat them all well. They all want to have a touch of that beautiful spice mixture and the olive oil and that touch of sugar that's in there. And you just want to make sure that they all get coated really well in this beautiful spice mixture, because really they're going to caramelize and become so incredible, you're not going to believe just how tasty they are. So once they're well coated, we're just going to put them aside for a moment, and I've covered my sheet pan with some parchment paper, which really just helps for easy cleanup when we are done. So once the paper is on your pan, then all you're going to want to do is add your florets right on top of that paper, and then just use your spoon to drizzle over any of that beautiful spice mixture that has stayed behind in the bowl. And then just use that same spoon and just spread your florets out amongst the pan. And of course, you want to make sure that that beautiful mixture is well distributed and that all the florets are in contact with that yummy olive oil and spice mixture, because you are going to not believe what happens to it when you roast it. The sugar and the spices in that olive oil mixture really caramelize together with the cauliflower, and the color is gorgeous and the flavor is spectacular, and the aroma of those spices is really unreal. You're going to absolutely love this cauliflower. So I'm super excited. It's almost time to get them in the oven. I'm just making sure that all of them are exposed to that yummy sauce that we created. So now they are ready, and you're going to place them in the oven on a center rack so that they can fully roast. And you're going to want to set a timer on your oven for 30 minutes, because it should take about 30 minutes for them to caramelize and look absolutely gorgeous. And look at them as they roast. Look at the color they're developing. Just unbelievable. Between the spices and that olive oil and that bit of sugar, they really just develop a gorgeous caramelization, and they smell incredible. So 30 minutes have passed, and I'm pulling them out, and just look at how beautiful they look. Even those dark areas, don't be concerned, because that is just the sugar caramelizing together with the spices and the olive oil, and that is really going to make this dish spectacular. So you're going to want to scoop all of that up when you serve these cauliflower florets because they are so delicious, and all that yumminess on the tray, that adds to the deliciousness of this dish. Really, it makes it so yummy. Look at the color, how gorgeous they look. Tell me this doesn't look appetizing. Definitely not your run-of-the-mill cauliflower. So now I've grabbed a serving spoon and I am just scooping up all of that yummy golden deliciousness from the tray, and you want to make sure to get all of those brown bits that have developed from roasting in the oven, because it really just develops such an incredible flavor. Those spices and the olive oil and that sugar, as they have roasted together with the cauliflower, the flavors are so incredible. So you just want to make sure that you scrape up all of that yumminess and include it when you serve these delicious cauliflower florets, because that is really where the flavor is. All of that caramelization of the spices is what makes this dish so incredible. So I don't want to leave any of that yumminess behind. It looks so good. I cannot wait to try it. Look at how gorgeous these cauliflower florets look. They are inviting and they are aromatic. They have these delicious spices and just a touch of spice, and they are just so beautiful that no one is going to be able to resist them. They're a perfect side dish, a complement to anything you're eating, and they're just absolutely inviting and just beautiful and fragrant, and you are going to love them. So I'm super excited. I need to serve myself some and finally take a bite. I'm going to make sure to get some of those really beautiful crusty pieces. The truth is, they're golden and delicious all over. Really, they have developed such beautiful color and they're just tender and absolutely divine. I cannot wait to try these. Look at how golden and just really crusty is a perfect word, because the sugar has caramelized together with those warm spices, and look at that color. This is definitely nothing like that cauliflower I knew as a child that if it wasn't smothered in cheese, I would not even want to take a bite of. But look at this. This I definitely want to eat. Look at how gorgeous that color is. I cannot wait. Wow. So amazing. Those spices are perfect, and it's just got the right amount of spice. It just has a slight little kick to it without being too spicy. But of course, if you don't like spice, you can leave it out. But this is just so beautifully golden and caramelized. It's just so delicious. I want to eat all of it. It's just so amazing. Wow. Oh my, it is so good. You're just not going to believe that this is cauliflower. Really, it's going to become your favorite vegetable, because preparing it this way is really super yummy. It's inviting, it's delicious, so good. Can you tell? I can't get enough. It is so good. I'm going to finish this plate because I'm not going to leave any behind. Wow, clean plate, all my vegetables gone. Yum. So how incredible does this spice roasted cauliflower look? I absolutely love the golden color it gets. That turmeric really just gives it that beautiful golden color, and it smells divine with that combination of warm spices. It is so good. I really have to stop myself from eating the whole thing. It is that delicious. And the fun part is that you can choose whether you want to touch a spice or you don't. And you can play with the spice level too. Maybe you want an extra kick and you want to add a little extra spice. That's okay too. You could totally play with the recipe and make it your own. But really, the one thing that is 100% true across the board is that you're going to love it. Trust me. No, don't trust me. You're going to have to try to make this recipe yourself. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Share my recipe with your friends. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to touch the little notification bell so that you get notified every time I put up a new delicious and different recipe. I put up recipes all of the time, and there are already tons of recipes up on my channel, so make sure you go over to the video tab and you explore. And if you're not already following me on social media, please be sure to follow Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can follow me as Sally That Girl FL on Twitter, Snapchat, and on TikTok. See you next time. Sally That Girl in the Kitchen.